So this is a common impairment rating that's often missed, and that's the thoracic region. So let's go into the common thoracic impairment ratings that's often missed, and that's legitimate. Okay, so we'll come in here to thoracic category 2, 5 to 8% impairment, whole person. It says guarding or significant spasm. So what's the likelihood on a low impact soft tissue spinal injury that will have cervical or lumbar guarding or muscle spasm? It's pretty high. And remember, there's the hybrid method of you evaluating it, which is not as good, but the authoritative method is the dynarom for muscle spasms because it's 100% objective. Now, it's measuring the cervical spine, but I'm going to naturally, if I've got a positive dynarom for the cervical spine, 100% objective, and then I also include muscle spasms in the upper thoracic spine, that's not a far stretch. It's not like you're going to have spasms here, but from C7 down, there's no spasms. The body isn't like that. It's not black or white. So even though I'm not doing the dynarom for the thoracic spine, when I palpate it, so now that's a hybrid finding, remember? When you palpate muscle spasms, it's your opinion, and it's a hybrid finding. Well, I got a lot more strength behind me when right above me, I got the dynarom showing positive pathological muscle firing. So you see, it fits real well. Okay, so asymmetric loss of range of motion, no. Radicular pain, sometimes, but not too often. Sometimes you have the tingling or numbness. I found it's in about 20% of the cases when you do the Adson's test, or you have tingling and numbness of the median nerve, typically. Herniated disc, no, not typically. Fracture, no. So what are we typically talking about? Let's go to category 2, 3 here. Impairment of the lower extremity, thoracic, thoracolumbar injury, documented motor sensory function. So is there motor or sensory or reflexes or unilateral atrophy? No. Okay. Herniated disc, thoracic, no. Fractures, no. Okay. So this is really not what we're talking about. Really, we're back over here in category 1. Now, remember, I'm talking about a low impact soft tissue spinal injury. So the focus is very narrow here. Okay. So what's the likelihood at MMI that we'll have some muscle spasm? Well, it's pretty high. So what does that mean? I can come up here to a 5 to 8% impairment rating and combine it to the major impairment rating, which was probably my cervical spine, especially if you had any other type of lesion, let's say a ligament lesion or a disc lesion or muscle spasm confirmed with dynarom, especially if you have the dynarom confirmed in the cervical region, because that throws a lot of credibility your way to come down here and palpate. And that, because now it's a hybrid finding. And you say yes. Now remember, you do want to quantify that. With the muscle spasms, you'll quantify mild, moderate, and severe. And that's just your opinion. That's your opinion. Now, the dynarom will quantify it itself, and it's 100% objective for the cervical. So this is my point, that you will find muscle spasms on occasion. That'll get you to 5 to 8%. Or every now and then, you'll have the tingling and numbness. And it may not be constant with the patient. It may just be positional. A lot of times it's when they they rest their arm on the back of a chair while they're sitting, something like that. You'll find it when you do Adson's test. That's when you'll find it. So all I'm sharing with you is that sometimes in my experience now, up to like 20% of the time, you're going to have a thoracic impairment rating that's going to go with your cervical rating. And it's usually going to be a muscle spasm or radiculopathy. So that takes us to 5 to 8%. You go, again, what determines whether it's 5 to 8%? Quantity or quality of ADLs. It's your opinion. If you think 2's a lot, that's your opinion. But it's based on the jury. Ultimately, how many is going to seem a lot like to a jury? Because that's the final arbitrator in all this. Remember, that's the I to which you should always be evaluating your documentation, because that's ultimately where it's going to go, if necessary. So let's just say, since let's say I already have a primary finding in the thoracic region, that would be one more reason for me not to go up to 8%. Because I already got my main finding in the cervical spine. I'm just going to take the 5% and combine it, because I don't want to violate the trust. I don't want to, like, I'm trying to inflate an impairment rating. Okay. I'm just telling you that's just my opinion from the perception of a jury. I don't just want to I just don't want to show up in front of a jury and everything's bad, bad, bad. Now, if I do use 8%, let's say I have some muscle guarding, I had the dinorama in the cervical region, which really gives way more credit for when you say a hybrid finding of thoracic muscle spasms and MMI. And let's say I had a significant injury. I got a lot of other documentation. Well, then I will consider going up to 8% if I did have a lot of quantity and quality of ADLs. But I'm probably not dealing with a low impact injury anymore. A low impact injury is under 20 miles an hour. I'm probably dealing with somebody at 30, 40 miles an hour. So a pretty hard collision. It's probably what I'm dealing with to get all these other findings. Okay. So I just wanted to take a minute out and just say, hey, be aware that a lot of your main findings in the cervical region will have a thoracic component of either muscle spasms or radiculopathy at MMI, and then just add it, then take the percent, 5 to 8, depending on the ADLs involved. I'll usually take 5, and then I'll go to the combined table. And when you combine, let's say you did have LMSI, and let's say you listed it at 25%, not 28. So you got 25, you're going to combine 5. Remember, combine is not adding. We'll go to the combining charts there in just a second. So in all likelihood, instead of 25 and 530, it'd probably be 29 or 28. That's what will show up. And when that's where that would be. So anyway, I wanted to point out this thoracic component that's somewhat common in the low impact soft tissue spinal injury that's often missed.